Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your listening and viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships. Whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind, God is concerned about that which concerns you. And that is the reason that we are here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature, it is untouched by man? It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer, where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the Give segment of our app at New Life-Delaware, and those of you that have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the contribution pages of our websites at NewLifeMinistriesInternational.com and NewLifeInternationalCDC.com, and those of you that are using the QR code or the link provided on Facebook and YouTube, we thank all of you for your commitment and for your support as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. So I want to remind all of our listeners and viewers that this is the last week for our FijiWater.com sponsored promo. So for all of you, you can go to WKAPFaith.com, our internet radio station, and at 12 p.m. or 6 p.m. every day, you list the first three songs that you hear at 12 noon Eastern Daylight Time or 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Text that list of the first three songs that you hear, along with your name and email address, to the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. One of our listeners and viewers will be selected from the U.S., will be selected to win a case of Fiji water from FijiWater.com, from Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. So this is one of the ways that we stay connected with all of our listeners and viewers, is by running promos, and we'll be doing that throughout the year. So remember, 12 p.m., we want you to tune in all day, every day, because we're on the air 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So go to WKAPFaith.com. First three songs you hear at 12 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time or 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Text those three songs, the first three songs you hear, along with your name and your email address. One of our listeners and viewers, and you can do it more than once, one of our listeners and viewers will be selected to win a case of water, Earth's finest water, from FijiWater.com. I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you do not think that you are doing everything you are capable of doing to be successful. And you want to know, what can you do to improve? So this is a very interesting question, and it's going to be helpful to all of our listeners and viewers, because I'm going to walk us through what it really means to not only be successful, but then to maximize our success. So I'm going to start with the fundamentals first, of making certain that we all do everything that we're capable of doing. That's a very interesting structure of the communication that you sent in. You want to make sure you're doing everything that you're capable of doing. Okay, so I'm not going to be a neurosurgeon tomorrow. First of all, I haven't studied to be a neurosurgeon. Second of all, I don't have any experience of being a neurosurgeon. So to be successful at that, it would require medical school. It would require studying for a specialty. It would require doing a lot of things that, truth be told, are not of interest to me. I'm glad there are neurosurgeons. That's not a category of business sector that I'm interested in, or in healthcare or medicine. Okay. Having said that, you have to know what you're doing, become competent at what you're doing, and you've done that, but you feel like you're not doing everything that you're capable of doing. So you have to ask yourself this question. You said, what can I do to improve? Have you become complacent? Have you become complacent with what you do every day? In other words, are you on automatic pilot? So it's one thing that when we have a busy week to be on automatic pilot doing what we do out of repetition. It's another thing to become complacent doing that. Now what that means is, and I'm going to give you a very prime example of that. So as of Sunday, the end of this period of time, we have literally been on the air with our internet radio station for a year. Now, can we just keep uploading songs and promos and commercials or whatever? Yes. But we're always looking for ways to enhance that. So for a year, we've been playing music, and we do that 24 hours a day, but we're always looking for new music. We're always looking for new sponsors. We're always looking for another opportunity. I know one of the things that you all have been saying to us pardon me, for a very long period of time, as we've been broadcasting live streaming for 6 years now. And you all have repeatedly asked that we extend the broadcast. So we're not necessarily going to extend the 1 hour, but we are going to do some different things with the broadcast. So you don't want to become complacent in the sense of not just being on automatic pilot when things are moving really fast, but you don't want to become complacent with what you're doing and say it's enough. So that's the one thing. You got to ask yourself, have you become complacent? Now, the fact that you're asking this question says that you're not looking to be complacent. Perhaps you've become complacent, but you're not looking to be there anymore. So now the second thing is you have to make certain that you eliminate procrastination. So you can't just say, I want to do something different or do something more. You have to be willing to do just that. You have to be willing to produce action. So just think about this. Procrastination is the opposite of producing action. It is, first of all, becoming complacent where you are, and then it's deciding that you're going to put off producing action because either you don't want to do it or because you're comfortable doing what you've been doing. So you've got to make certain that you eliminate the procrastination. You got to make certain that that doesn't become a factor. And I'm about to have a very difficult time with my allergies. And so I'm going to, right in the middle of this broadcast, because I'm already started draining, right in the middle of this, I'm going to take my allergy medication and my vitamins that I neglected to take today. And take a drink from Earth's Finest Water. Because I'm hoping that I won't have a breakthrough and sneeze through this entire broadcast. So procrastination is going to be an issue. And you have to make certain that it doesn't become an issue that will prevent you from being successful or maximizing your success. And I'll get to that in a moment. The last thing is And there can be more. I mean, you could all probably come up with some other categories, but stagnation. So, one of the things I tell people all the time, if you really want to be successful, you cannot become complacent. You cannot procrastinate. You can't fail to produce action. You've got to be producing some type of action to keep moving forward. Everything takes time. It's really interesting because time and patience are required to get to success. Stagnation means that I become not only comfortable with where I am, but I'm not willing to put out any additional energy to accomplish more. So you have to be mindful of that. You don't want to become stuck where you are. You don't want to plant yourself in a place where you're not willing to move forward. And we have to be cognizant of that. We have to be very focused on the fact that if we're not careful, we can become stagnant. So complacency, procrastination, and stagnation will definitely keep you from doing all that you can do, that you're capable of doing to be successful. So you've got to eliminate those. You've got to make certain that they don't become part of your lifestyle. There's that word again, because I know this week we talked a bit about lifestyle. But those are 3 things that will impede your progress and reduce your possibilities of becoming successful. Now, just being good at what you do every day in your job doesn't mean that you're successful. Success is ever evolving. And you see the results of it because you keep making progress. You can live life, but you can't have life and have it more abundantly. You can live, but you can't have life and have it more abundantly. So, what can you do to improve? Eliminate complacency, eliminate procrastination, and eliminate stagnation. So that will get you to a place of success, but it's just the beginning, because success is ever evolving. Then you have to think about consistency, being consistent, and you have to think about sustainability. So can I be consistent and do this for a long period of time? So to give you an example of that, when we started live streaming, not just our Sunday sermon, but when we started live streaming the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, we've been on the air. In the fall, it will literally be 7 years. That time has gone by very quickly. But we didn't start this with the intent of we're going to do this for a short period of time and then we're going to move on to something else. No, what we're going to do is improve what we're doing. Continue to take it to the next level. But you have to be consistent. It has to be about sustainability. So all of those things have to be part of your success. But then when you maximize your success, what it means is that every day you're doing everything necessary to be the best version of yourself that you can possibly become. And you have to work to that end every single day. You have to give 100% to that focus every single day. It requires work. It requires us to be committed to working to that end. And the reason you want to maximize your success is so that you can experience the fullness of God in every aspect of your life, both personally and professionally. You want to make certain that you get to a place where you enter into the fullness of God. that every component of your life has improved. Every component of your life has become the best version of itself, so that you can be the best version of yourself that you can possibly become. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you're not currently a T-Mobile customer, call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider, T-Mobile, at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated you and your husband have differences in the way you want to raise your children, and it is causing a problem in your marriage. You want to know, how do you get on the same page? So first of all, let me say this, because this needs to benefit everyone. These are discussions that you need to have before you get married. So you need to have these conversations when you are just starting the process. So, and pardon me, I thought I was going to sneeze. But here's the reality. You know how I've told everyone that we need to date with a purpose. Dating needs to be done differently. And I said to all of our listeners and viewers, and I'll say this again, if you're interested in someone, if you're a woman and they ask you out, you ask them to take you to their church and out to lunch 3 times. Forget about whatever they ask. If they ask you to go to dinner, say to them, I don't do dinner on initial dates. What I would like to do is go to your church with you and out to lunch. And I'd like you to do that 3 Sundays consecutively. That you're gonna eliminate everyone who is not for you just by doing that. That's the first thing. But when they take you to church and out to lunch, you don't need to sit there and talk about, where you like to travel. You don't need to talk about, where you like to go out to brunch with your girlfriends. You need to have a discussion about what their plan is for their life. Do they have a 7-year plan? What's your 7-year plan? That's an easy start. He doesn't have a plan for you. He doesn't have a plan for himself. He doesn't have a plan for you. That's the first thing. The second Sunday that you go out, and you can talk about family history. And the second Sunday you go out together, what's your 14-year plan? What's your midterm plan for life? What's your 14-year plan? Hear him out. Find out if his plan lines up with your plan. Do you both want to be married? Do you both want to have children? That's the time to have those discussions. And then the third Sunday, what's your 21-year plan? Because let's look at where we are at this point, our ages right now. And this is how old we'll be 21 years from now. And are we going to be building something that is long-term sustainable? But in those conversations, when you talk about family history, because both of you are going to bring your own life experiences to the table. No pun intended. But, well, maybe there is. But the point is, over lunch, you're going to be able to have that conversation. How were you raised? What's your thought process on, if you want to be married and have children, on raising children? That's the time to have those conversations. And for the brothers and for the men out there, you've got to do the same thing with the women. You've got to take them to church, or go with them to church if you don't have your own home church now. Go with them to church. Take them out to lunch. Save yourself some money. You don't need to Listen, if a woman only wants you to take her out to a high-priced restaurant for dinner, that's all it is. It's just to see if you'll spend your money. That's all it is. It's not for you. Take them to lunch, take them to church, take them out to lunch. Have conversations, real conversations on what your goals are for life. What's your strategic plan for the next 21 years? Have that conversation. And if she's receptive to that, and she gives you some ideas on what she would like to see happen in her life, and you feel that it's going to be able to yoke together, then that's someone you can explore life with. But one of the things you need to know is how you're going to raise your children. How were you raised? You need to have those conversations before getting married, because it eventually will have an impact on your marriage. The way you want to raise your children. There's only one way to raise children. The problem is we were taught how to be raised. We weren't taught how to raise our children. There's only one way to raise them, and the Bible gives us that. Raise up a child in the way they should go. Have a plan for their lives. When they grow old, they won't depart from it. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't go off on their own journey. What it means is they will not depart from it because you've had a plan for their lives. You've talked to them about maximizing their success. You've talked to them about building wealth. You've talked to them about time management, money management, lifestyle management. You've had those conversations with them. I know even in our generation, the baby boomers, we weren't given all those tools. We were told what to do. You complied with what to do. And then when you got older, you start making some decisions and you figured it out for yourself. Well, that's not what the Bible said. But that's the way the generation raised us, the generation before us. Now we got to do it differently. So what society has taught us to do is to allow our children to explore, and that's part of the problem. Left to their own devices, they're going to explore in some ways that is not going to be conducive for them having a great quality of life. We spend a lot of time trying to be friends with our children. We should not be friends with our children. We should be their parents. When they become adults, you can enjoy having a relationship with them that allows you to go out to dinner together. It allows you to maybe play tennis together. It allows you to maybe play golf together. It may allow you, not that you can't start doing those things earlier, but when they become adults, you can be friendly with your children. The problem is we either want to be friends or we want to be friendly with our children. That's not our job. Our job is to govern their lives and to give them instruction that will build them up in a way that they will be able to select a career, to make career choices that will allow them to be somewhat recession-proof and that will allow them to maximize the potential of their lives. Train up a child in the way they should go, and when they grow old, they won't depart from it. There's a lot of passages in the scripture that tell us how to raise our children. It tells us to give them instruction. Their job is to receive the instruction. The Bible says only a fool will not accept instruction. Then you'll understand who your children are, and then as the scripture also says, you'll know what to leave to the one who comes after you, because you'll know if there'll be a wise man or a fool. You can't leave everything to everybody, because the reality is it may destroy their lives. You may have to make some other arrangements to focus on some philanthropic endeavors, because that's part of our responsibility of being here, to try to make this world a better place. There's a lot of factors to life. And now, because you didn't have those conversations before you got married, you're either going to have to sit down and have those conversations now, or you're going to have to allow each other to focus on how they want to raise your children. Because truth be told, they're still young enough that you can have some influence. But a lot of this should have started at 4 and 5 and not at 14 and 15. Yours aren't quite there yet, but you still have a little time to work on this. Not a lot of time to work on this, but you still have some time to work on this. And, at the end of the day, we're still going to have to be parents to our children, no matter how old they are. We still have to be available to them to give them some recommendations when they ask. We still have to be available to them to assist them in the event that they incur a health crisis. That's our job as a parent. But some things, really everything, we have to refer back to what the scripture's telling us to do and stop doing what we want to do. Because at the end of the day, we're not always going to be here. And we need to make them capable of carrying on after we're gone. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by PorscheAmerica.com. If you are in the market for a high-performance automobile, one of the finest high-performance automobiles ever manufactured, go to PorscheAmerica.com. You will virtually be able to build out the type of Porsche you desire to own. And if you're in our area, you can go to PorscheDelaware.com. Ask to speak to Mike Didio, General Manager of PorscheDelaware.com. He will make certain that someone assists you in purchasing the Porsche you desire to own. And if you currently own a Porsche and you are just in need of service and you're in our area, go to PorscheDelaware.com. Ask to speak to Mike Adams, who is the service manager. He will have someone assist you in scheduling an appointment. They will pick up your vehicle at your home or office, drop off a loaner vehicle to you, and return your vehicle to you when your service has been completed. And this segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop in their retail stores. I'm in Charles Tyrwhitt Attire today. They have everything a man could possibly need. And if you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. And The White Company, located in London, the UK, and they also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. So if you're in New York, stop in at their retail store. They have everything you could possibly need: home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. Charles Tyrwhitt can be found at ctshirts.com, The White Company at thewhitecompany.com, and each company will ship and deliver right to your front door in the appropriate period of time. I was going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers. However, we are going to run out of time. So I'm going to just take a moment to say to all of our listeners and viewers, I want everyone to continue. We're asking you to continue encouraging everyone you know, family, friends, coworkers, colleagues, to tune in on our Facebook channel or on YouTube at Daily Divine Direction. And we want them to stay connected with us throughout the week. So tune in to our internet radio station, WKAP Faith Empowerment Radio, at WKAPfaith.com, where we play music 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, that will encourage you, empower you, and inspire you to become the best version of ourselves that we can possibly become. And so, as you know, we are in the midst of our FijiWater.com sponsored promo. So right now, all of our listeners and viewers in the U.S. will do something for our international listeners and viewers at a later date. If you're in the U.S., go to WKAPfaith.com at 12 noon Eastern Daylight Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, or 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And the first 3 songs you hear at 1 p.m. or at 6 p.m., list those songs along with your name and your email address and text them to the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. One of our listeners and viewers will be a winner of a case of Fiji water from FijiWater.com, Earth's finest water. And as always, 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, is brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you